So hello everyone, and welcome to Versatile Data Kit community meeting. This meeting is here to get to know us, to connect with our community, to connect with our potential users and contributors, and to just update the community on what are the latest changes. And I'll start with introducing myself, and maybe if you are here and you would like to introduce yourself, you can also do that. So my name is Agita, and I'm the community manager of this community, and I'm here to kind of create these meetings and spread the word about VDK. That's about me. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Gabriel. I'm one of the developers working on VDK, and yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm Anthony. I'm a technical lead of Versatile Data Kit.
Yeah. 1 second. Hi, Baje.
Hi, my name is Demira, and I'm a data engineer working with VDK.
Hello, my name is Miroslav. I'm a senior software engineer, and I'm responsible for the control service.
So if you just joined, we're doing a little round of introduction. If you would like to say who you are and what are you doing, you feel free to do so. If not, I will share my screen and we can proceed with our agenda for today. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
So today we have a little introduction to the team, and I will show the project around in our repository, and then we will have announcement of recent changes and demo of Airflow Provider. And then I have collected a little some points of discussion that we could go through, and basically, yeah, if there are any questions, we can also answer them in the discussion part, or basically, yeah, anytime. So the Versatile Data Kit, basically, the repository is here. I will just paste it in quickly in the chat. This is where a project resides, and well, what we do is we are creating a framework for data engineers to develop, deploy, and run data jobs. And a data job is basically a data processing workload, and yeah, it can be written in Python or SQL or both at the same time. And yeah, so we have two components. One is data software. Can you please mute yourself? I think someone is talking. Yeah, or is there a question? Okay, I will proceed. So basically the two main components is software development kit and the control service. And yeah, so basically we are providing the automation for data extraction, transformation, and loading. And it looks a little bit like this. I will just open an example. These are like data jobs that are running in a specific sequence as numbers indicate here. Like the data, it can be very simple, just like dropping a table or creating a table. Or here's ingestion example. Or I can even show maybe more simplified example of ingestion, which is maybe this one. So yeah, basically this project is automating ingestion, transformation of the data workloads and scheduling them. I can show also a bit about how they are scheduled. Not here. So yeah, basically providing a very simple way to schedule the jobs and run them at any time that is required to run. And yeah, so this is a very quick and easy installation guide, and the documentation of VDK can be found here. Here's a little bit of introduction. We have a list of examples here with instructions and yeah, kind of everything documented. And what else I would like to show? Yeah, maybe installation. So this is VDK, how to install VDK, and also how to install the control service. And the control service is here also to deploy jobs and execute them on the environments like development, production, staging, whatever is necessary. So yeah, is there anything to add? Maybe I skipped something. Does anyone want to add something?
No, it looks good. Maybe I can just add one more thing. We also use Versatile Data Kit to create publishing jobs. Especially when you have Python, you can also push data to, I don't know, let's say some third-party applications. It might be Salesforce, Wavefront, you name it. So yeah, it's just one more thing to add. Not too critical.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so I'm giving the stage to Tony about the recent changes. Tony, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I'm gonna do quick updates of the recent releases. So we try to do basically some release announcement of every month, usually sometimes before this meeting. Just to keep track of what are the new features, what have been changed. You can find them on the releases. Since the last time I made an update, because I skipped the previous community meeting, I think we skip also the update. One of the things that there you can find more details here, more detailed list, but major things that are interesting is now you can create a standalone data job, which means that you can programmatic. Until now, usually the way you run data jobs is right. Let's say that you code it. Let's say this is some ingestion job. You access job input. Job input is basically you create a run method, and job input is basically the library which provides different other features which you need to ingest or process data. This particular data job is an ingestion job. Set up raw data for ingestion, you specify what kind of rows you want to ingest, and you can configure destination, in this case Trino, and it will create the tables if the plugin does it, and insert the data in the correct table. Until now, the way you do it is you do VDK run ingest job, and the job will be executed. There you can do this now programmatically, and I'll quickly show a demo in a little bit. I'll just go over the next changes. There's also new library plugin, VDK Control API out. This is primarily for plugin developers who want to be able to access the control service. This now they can just the plugin is a library, they can just reuse the library, and that will make authentication gate control service really trivial with one line. There's more information, the plugin documentation. And the last two major things is in the recent weeks. One is a new database connection hook. Basically, Versatile Data Kit allows you to intersect each query that's executed, be it through command line or through Python or through SQL files, and do some kind of curation on it. The decoration hook that executed before, or a case of error. One that was missing was to be able to track the full execution before and after. This is necessary so that you can, like the example, simply time a query. If you are familiar with aspects, this very much looks like how you do an aspect in aspect-oriented programming. So now you can create a new DB connection execute operation plugin hook. You simply implement this method. This is the only thing that's necessary. And you write your code. You write what you want to be executed before the query starts. Then you yield to the query. And then you write what you want to execute after the query starts. In this ends. In this case, I'm tracking only the duration because it's a very simple example. And in a little bit, we'll show a demo of Airflow Provider. If I go back to standalone data job run, I just wanted to show what I mean by programmatically using it. As I said, one way to use the data job is through VDK run, but now you can do it also entirely programmatically, including use JEP input. So let's say, for example, I open Jupyter Notebook, and the only thing I can do is now I can import this one data job factory and start developing my job in the Jupyter Notebook. I'll simply write the name of the job and automatically get access to job input, and I'll be able to use it. This is one step toward making tight integration Jupyter Notebook so people can develop their data jobs in a notebook environment. Until now, the only way to develop data job is using more standard EDA like VS Code or IntelliJ, or text editor. This is a more interactive development experience soon, or even now. That was basically a summary of the major changes. You can check out more details if you go set to Versatile Data Kit releases. Any questions? Or I can yield to Gabriel to tell us more about. I think he was the next one.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. So Gabriel, if you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, I probably should have opened the Airflow docs. That would have been useful. But basically, over the last 2 months or so, we've worked on an integration between Apache Airflow and VDK. So if any of you isn't familiar, Airflow is a workflow engine / platform that allows you to schedule and manage different kinds of workflows. And one unique thing about Airflow is that it allows you to manage these workflows in these things called DAGs, or directed acyclic graphs, meaning that you can express dependencies between your workflows. In simple terms, you can say, I want these 2 workflows to pass successfully before this third one triggers. And Airflow is kind of similar to VDK, but in VDK, you can only really schedule jobs using a cron-like schedule interface. So you can't really say, I want this data job to run, and once that one succeeds, then I want this other one to run. You could space them out using the cron, but that's a bit less effective. So we've developed a provider for Airflow that allows you to trigger data jobs through the Airflow UI. The way to install it is, so initially, if you don't have VDK, you would need to run pip install kickstart VDK, and then also you need Apache Airflow, and the actual provider is called Airflow Provider. Type live typing is always fun. Airflow Provider VDK. So I already have an instance of Airflow running here. So this is the web server and this is the actual scheduler. And this is what the UI looks like of Airflow. So you can see a whole bunch of example DAGs, and then there are some that I've made. Now we can review the DAG. This is what the actual code looks like, but to show a diagram, this is what our DAG looks like. So we have these two jobs. And then once these two jobs pass successfully, then this other third one triggers. I'm not going to show you the actual code because these are data jobs that are running on an internal VMware service. But we can actually look at the code, and this is how you set up the actual operator. It's called VDK operator, and you need to provide it with a connection ID, which configure I'll show you how to configure it in a second through the Airflow UI. And then you provide a job name, a team name, and a task ID, which just identifies the task within Airflow. And then in the end here, we've shown the actual DAG structure where we say we want these two jobs to pass before this third one triggers. Okay, now if I come here and I trigger this DAG, this should fail. Yep, and we see it does fail, and we can look at the actual log. And if we read the log, we can see that the reason it fails is because the con ID, VDK con, isn't defined. So now to do that, we need to go here into the admin panel, go to connections, and then we need to add a new connection. I will call it VDK con, so it matches the connection that the actual DAG expects to see. And then here in the host, we'll type in the actual host, which in this case is supercollider.vmware.com. Obviously, this will depend on what your actual instance of the VDK control service is. And I will save it. And I will go to the DAG again. And once we trigger it now, this should work, hopefully. And we can see the structure here presented in graph form. We can see that ingest job 1, ingest job 2, or sorry, rather, process job depends on both of these ingest jobs. We can see that ingest job 1 is scheduled. Now, this is a local, I guess, demo instance of Airflow. So one drawback is that it uses something called a sequential executor, meaning that each individual task is scheduled one after or in a linear fashion. So if you're using an actual production version of Airflow, these two jobs will trigger at the same time, but in this case, we'll have to wait for them to pass one after the other. Yep, and now we see that the first one is running, so that's good. And hopefully that one passes soon, and then the second one triggers, and then if assuming both of them pass successfully, then the third one will trigger. Trying to think if there's something else I can talk about while we wait for the jobs to pass.
Dimira, did you want to add something?
I actually wanted to ask a question on the previous screen where you had the code, where you
Yep,
this one, yes. So this is essentially that's essentially Airflow, right? And you this is the syntax for Airflow to actually define what's the sequence, which are the data jobs that have to be running, and what is the sequence of the data jobs, right? Okay.
Yeah, there's a variety of ways that you can define DAG in Airflow, but basically, in this case, we're using a context manager, and we instantiate the DAG object, and then all the operators that we have inside of this context manager will be automatically registered with that DAG object. And then at the end, so for example, if we don't have this line, what will happen is these three jobs will all trigger independently of one another. And then finally, this whole file goes inside your DAGs folder, which is configurable through the Airflow config. but by default, at least on Mac OS, it goes into your home directory into a folder called Airflow. And then inside of that folder is a folder called DAGs. And then your DAGs have to go inside of there so that they can be picked up by the scheduler. Let's see. Yep, we see that both of our ingest jobs have been successful, and the third job is scheduled as a result of that. And yeah, I guess, are there any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, one more for me. I'm very sorry. So essentially, the way to run Airflow with VDK is, from what I saw, is just adding one library at the top, which essentially allows you to run, to schedule, versatile data jobs in Airflow.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the actual provider is the package that gives you the VDK operator and the VDK sensor. But then you would need to go through the admin console and configure your connection to your control service. And yeah, I think that's it. Yep, we see that the third job has been successful as well. So that's great. Are there any other questions or?
Not for me. Thank you. That looks great.
From anyone else?
Actually amazing.
Okay, well, in that case, I think we can move on. Agita, I think you had something you wanted to discuss with us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you as well.
Okay, so yeah, we're kind of going to like a little bit of community update. And yeah, basically I wanted to show, we've done two things. I think meanwhile on our repository, we added the community and resources page with Bonnie. And here we're going to collect everything that basically is like all the resources that we have, all the videos that we've published and the blog posts, and also the events that we're attending, and with dates. And yeah, I think it's pretty neatly structured. And also here I'm now like adding the next community meeting Google Calendar link, which usually has also like the description, the meeting URL, and everything to that, so it can be found now on our repository as well. I also actually put it here in the community meeting page as well, but like if it's not there, it should be in one of those or both. So that's the first thing. And yeah, so also during this time, I visited the ODSC conference as a volunteer, and I can share a little bit of my experience there and basically my personal outcomes. And I was basically introducing the speakers and talking about VDK with them, or like with anyone who was around. And there I met kind of these several speakers I linked here, and one of them is this guy Jacob Tomlinson, who is writing also about open source projects, and he's part of this Rapids project that is a bit bigger than ours. And I was thinking that maybe I could also invite him to share his experience, because I think in previous meeting, maybe Eva, or I don't remember specifically, asked that maybe we can invite someone to share their like positive experience of growing the community and having the contributors joining and things like that. So I kind of have a contact with this guy. And another option for this is this GovMommy project that I reached out to our open source community within VMware, And they basically told me that there is this project. I cannot open it. Yeah, there's this project, and they have like also some members of the community, and they also can share. So if we wish, I can just talk to them, and they can join us for the next community meeting, and yeah, say something. So let me know if you're interested to hear from them.
To me, that sounds like a good idea. It's interesting to exchange information.
I think it's pretty cool and interesting to find out how they did it. Like if they went from like open sourcing a project into having like a nice community around it. It's just a nice story maybe, but yeah, I was thinking as well that it could be cool to invite them. So I have already started like the communication, and let's see what happens. And also yesterday I joined the DataOps community meeting that's coming from techies of Baltics, and I'm actually originally from Latvia, so I'm part of this community as a Baltic, like as a person from Baltics. Their website is devops.lv, and what I suggested, and actually what I asked yesterday, if they're interested to hear about DataOps, and they offered me to like lead a community of DataOps as part of this bigger community of techies in Baltics. So yeah, they sent me an invitation. I think in 2 weeks I will have like a meeting with them and see what we can do. And I guess I can speak there or invite speakers or like present whatever we want. So yeah, I guess I will be leading the community there. And yeah, there are also, I met this yesterday, the presenter was this guy from CDK, James Craig, and actually CDK also is like a development kit for Azure Cloud, like development kit. But yeah, it's just interesting that we are VDK and they're CDK. But also I can ask actually this guy to share his experience if they wish, because actually their project is pretty big now. I asked him yesterday, but we just didn't have time like to discuss it. So yeah, and the next thing is, yeah, basically, yeah, maybe any questions, because I'm going to go into scheduling or like thinking about the next meeting. So do we have any topics? Okay, so the next meeting, I heard a proposal to make it during the US friendly time zone. So I guess it should be like later during the day. If we agree on that, and I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Do you have any proposal on the time? Like,
yeah. So I think I'm going to be on the PTO starting 21st of July. So the potential dates are, I think 20th of July is still possible for me to do it.
yeah, it sounds good to me as well.
Okay, and what time could it be? Actually, I'm not, yeah.
Well, I would propose, I don't know, like 5 o'clock Bulgarian time, which I'm pretty sure is very hard to translate to other time zones, but it's
yeah, okay. Anyway, I understand that it's 3 o'clock my time, so yeah. I don't know what is the time in the US, but if it works, then yeah, I think it could be. It's just like a couple of hours later.
Yeah, it's -2 GMT if I'm correct. Yeah.
So basically, yeah. Okay, I think I can schedule it, and I will talk to the potential guest, whoever wants to join us, to tell us about their journey, and yeah, then I'm going to announce it and yeah, spread the word. So the last thing, maybe before we close, from my side is I'm going to paste some links. We have a Slack channel, a YouTube channel. We have release notes here and our Twitter account. I'm just gonna put it in the chat. And no, I did not copy it. Yep. And yeah, so to finalize, maybe I want to just mention that we're really open for any type of contributing, also with the documentation and or just opening an issue, or actually we're open to hear from anyone who is using the project, finding it useful, or like even considering to contribute. I think we have a contributing file here, but I'm going to soon try to improve it, but we feel free to check it out. And yeah, so eventually also here in the README file, we have on the bottom how to use versatile data kit. And there are several videos and a really nice blog post on how it works, and with a really nice example and links to files. So I think it's a really nice place to start. And that's it from my side.
Yeah, maybe if I can add one more thing here, for those of you that might find some of those videos or articles useful, feel free to share like what would be of interest to you that's currently not available as a material, as a demo, as a code snippet, because this would actually help us improve as well and answer questions that are of interest to the majority of people. And also, I think we probably mentioned it on the previous community meeting, but let's mention it once again, in case someone goes through the repo, but still has some outstanding questions that cannot be answered, please feel free to raise an issue and we will reply on top of that issue, because you know, if you cannot find your answer in the documentation, then that means that we should improve, and that's a way to give us feedback as well.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, so if there's nothing else to add, then I think we can close this meeting. So thank you everyone for joining, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.